Hey guys, it's Jenna and Mike. Hey. Mike's favorite place to be, in front of the camera. But we're here because we have an announcement, if you can't tell from the title of this video. No.
Oh, not that. Oh, yeah,
No.
No
children.
No.
Yeah, no. The title will say we're moving.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so if you guys are unfamiliar with our situation, basically we were living in Charlotte, North Carolina for a while. We had our beautiful dream home out there. We kind of made it exactly how we wanted. We loved living in that house specifically, but we just kind of felt like something was calling us back to Phoenix, where we were previously living. So this year, over the summer, we made the decision to move back across the country. We packed up all of our stuff. We are still renting out our house out there, so we still do have that house, just in case we decided like this wasn't what we wanted. But we moved across the country, and shortly after we got here, it was very clear to us that like this was what we were missing, and it was definitely like the right place where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Even in the middle of the summer.
Even in the middle of the summer, yeah.
Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with Phoenix, it gets like 110 here on the regular during the summer. And even still during that, we were like, yep, we made the right decision, basically.
It's not an ideal time to be moving things in and out of a shipping container and into and out of a house.
No.
But even with that being the case, it still didn't seem that bad. And I think that was another one of the dominoes that kind of fell in place that, you know, fortified the decision that we were feeling pretty good about.
Yeah.
The move.
So a couple years ago, in January of 2023 to be specific, we came out to Phoenix because we thought we were going to buy a house at that time. So we flew out here with the intention of touring a bunch of homes and hopefully finding like our forever home and just moving then. And we went through so many beautiful homes, but at the end of the day, we just really were not comfortable with what it cost at the time, with what we had saved. And our realtor, he took us around like probably 20 homes, and he did a really great job, super professional, really on top of things. But I will say we did feel a little bit pressured to buy. And you know, he's one of those realtors that just closes deals, you know.
Sure.
And yeah, like, so he's very good at his job, but we just felt a little pressured, and we also were pushed by both realtor and lender, the 2-1 buy down. So if you guys are unfamiliar, here in the US, we typically fix our rate for 30 years when we buy a mortgage. So it doesn't change. It's just what you lock in when you buy the house. That's what you're fixed with for the life of the loan, basically, unless you get an adjustable rate mortgage, which are always options. And this is kind of like a form of that. So basically you pay a certain amount to have your rate lowered for the first 2 years. You even can do a 3-1 buy down, but those are a lot more rare. So something that was pushed at the time was a 2-1 buy down, where your mortgage for the first 2 years is a lot lower, like significantly lower, like $1,000 to $1,500 lower. That's what it was at the time.
At the time.
Yeah. And then it goes back up. So for us, we felt very uncomfortable with that, just because everybody was telling us, you know, you'll do this 2-1 buy down, and then in 2 years, interest rates will drop, and then you can just refinance. And it was like kind of something to like get buyers into the door, or like convince them to buy the house, it felt like. And for us, it's like, nobody knows where rates are going to be. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you can say you think it's going to be that way, but nobody really knows. No. So I think at the end of the day, we wanted to be comfortable with that mortgage payment. Like, whatever that was, we wanted to be comfortable with that. And at the time, we just weren't. So we decided to save a little bit more, maybe try to see if Charlotte was a place we wanted to be, and we still just felt like something was calling us back to Phoenix. So we made the decision to come out here and rent. So by doing a rental, we figured, okay, we can really learn the area. We can make sure that we don't make another permanent decision that, you know, we're not 100% happy with. We'll, you know, confirm that this is where we want to be, and we'll learn the areas and where we want to buy in, because at the time we had a couple different areas we were deciding between, so within Phoenix specifically. So
I don't know, it really did have like, it had like a used cars, no offense if you're a used car salesman, you probably sell great cars, but if, you know, it had that used car salesman kind of feel about it. It's like, you know, this is great, it's going to save you money, but and everyone's preaching, and now we all know that the rates are going to drop down after such and such time. It's like no one knows. No one has the crystal ball and knows that that's going to happen. So that was something we were just personally not comfortable with, gambling on. And for those that maybe did it and it worked out, great. That's awesome.
Well, that's what I was going to say is the funniest thing is here we are now 2 years later in the future when they said rates were going to drop, and rates have gone nowhere but up since that time. So, we feel really good about that decision because our guts were like, I don't know about that. And, this is the whole point in telling you guys this story is we just want to, talk about our experience and let other people know who might be in a similar position and not know, because at the end of the day, there are plenty of good realtors and lenders out there. But I do think that if you are a buyer, you really do have to do your own research and take into account the bias that a realtor or a lender is going to have. Because at the end of the day, that's how they make money. So, they're going to want you to buy a house, and they're going to tell you things that they personally think will work for you, whether or not they believe in it. Or, maybe our realtor and lender really did think this is the best thing. Like, I can't say that they did or didn't. But for us, we took the time to say, I don't know about that. Like, let's do our own research. I think that that's really important when you're making such a huge financial decision. So I did a deep dive in, research and where people thought rates were going. And I think the one thing that I came away with was nobody knows. You can research all day and night, but you're never going to know where rates are going to be years into the future.
Exactly.
And they very well could have dropped. We just weren't comfortable making that gamble.
Yeah.
So basically, we weren't comfortable with the payment that it would have adjusted to. So we decided to hold off and be a little bit more patient, save a little bit more money, and then come out here later on and make sure that this really was where we wanted to be. So that's where we are at present day. And, like I said, shortly after coming out here, we really did feel like this is it.
Yeah.
So we would go see open houses on the weekend, and we would also do a bunch of those open doors. So basically you could do self tours where you download the Open Door app and then you can just tour the house yourself. You don't need a realtor. So we at the time didn't have a realtor, and we were just kind of learning neighborhoods and price ranges and seeing what some floor plans were in the area and stuff like that, just to kind of get a feel for the houses out here that were for sale. Yeah. So we did that for a while, and we didn't really have any intentions of buying. We just kind of felt like we're gonna, stay here the length of our lease and just kind of see what happens and save some money and learn the area. We were doing that here and there. We found some things that we were kind of ooh, that's nice. Maybe we could see ourselves there, but nothing where we were oh my gosh, we've got to put an offer in right now. And honestly, we had been looking for so long, for years at this point. I think we were kind of starting to lose hope that we would find something that we were excited about, to be honest, in our price range, because during the time we were looking, of course, prices just have gone up and up and up. Yeah. So we were just starting to feel, honestly, really discouraged.
You have a list of kind of items that you're wanting, the boxes you want to check off in these homes, and it did feel like we were just getting to a point where it's all right, cross that box out, we'll just check that one out, that's out of our range. And okay, scratch that box out as well, that's kind of starting to get out of range too. And the boxes just seemed like they were getting scratched out more and more instead of checked off.
Right.
And for at least the price range that we were trying to work with, the budget we were trying to work within. And yeah.
Which is hard when so much anticipation has gone into this move and this life change. I think for us, we were really excited about it being our dream forever home. So, it doesn't need to be perfect, obviously, but we did have some standards and we wanted to be at least excited about the house. And I felt like every house we went to was kind of
it's okay. That was nice. It's a nice house, but never. And I think that's the one thing that I kept coming back to, and that we kept talking about together was, and it's what I feel like a lot of people, it's what everybody kind of wants with a home, and everybody's feeling is going to be different based off of whatever boxes they're trying to check off. And for us, we just kept leaving homes feeling it's nice. It's a nice house, but we weren't wow, I think that's the house.
We're a little picky. Because I did want to kind of talk about our list.
For sure.
Because
regular list is probably about this big.
Yeah.
Ours it's off camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stems from honestly the channel, because it's truly like, it's not just where we're living, it is also where I'm working. And basically I want, you know, a certain amount of natural light and a certain layout to where I have spaces to style, and I still want it to feel good for us. And like, it was a big decision. And my top thing for me coming to Phoenix and really missing this landscape was some sort of like nature within the view of the home. So like, whether that's like mountains off in the distance, or, you know, we back up to kind of like brush with some cacti. Like, I really just wanted to go out into the backyard and like feel like I'm in nature. And like, my top of the top dream nature view would be more kind of like up on a hill so you can see the horizon, and west facing with the sunset. Like, that was kind of what I had told him, was like, that would like be my dream. But I just don't think that we're gonna get that in our price range. Like, what are some things that you can think of that you like kind of wanted in the house?
You put me on the spot. I gotta think about some of these things that
Yeah, well, I'll rattle off some of the things that like were ideal, like that were on the list. Like, high ceilings, natural light,
Yeah.
good storage. Like, a pool was top of the list, honestly, because it is so expensive to add a pool versus have one in the house. Like, we know that. So we obviously wanted to find a place with a pool. That was on the list. And like a good neighborhood. Like, obviously, who doesn't want a good neighborhood?
I think for me, I think the things that I was looking for wasn't a huge, long list. It was big, you know, a good open feel, a nice flow throughout the house that I think you can just feel once you go into the house. It's just kind of a feeling. And the high ceilings and the view out the backyard, I think, were a big part of that. And then just the open living room, kitchen setup was a big part of it. I think the other big thing for me that I think I did latch onto was that this house does provide like a future for us, in the sense that there is, you know, for your channel, but also just for us, like, there's opportunity to grow in it. Like, there is still projects that are going to need to be done to it. Not like this house is a wreck, but it has options and opportunity, I felt like, to do things down the line, which was a really big part for me. It's like, okay, I can see that
There's potential.
Yeah, there's lots of potential. Like, we can do that down the line. We can do that down the line. We can do these things right away and make it really nice. But there's so much room to grow in that house. And I felt like that was the overwhelming feeling that I felt with that house. I was like, ooh, this is exciting.
Yeah.
I kind of like this.
So this one house popped up, and it was way out of our price range. Like, out of our price range, but like maybe it could have dropped into our price range. Yeah. So, you know, I just like liked it on the Realtor app or whatever. And I was like, I'll just watch it, because that checks a lot of the boxes. And then I saw that it had a big price drop, and I was like, oh, still out of our budget, but maybe now a little bit closer to our budget. But, you know, we were busy at the time, and we had been looking at a lot of houses. So I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And then I feel like a couple weeks later, I saw that it had another like big price drop. And now it was like within our budget, still very high, but like, maybe if they came down a little more, like, we could get that.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's go take Kona on a walk by that house. And we're like, oh, this is a really nice neighborhood. I felt like the pictures didn't even really do it justice. So then it was kind of like, huh, interesting. Maybe we should get a realtor.
It was one of those moments. It's like, you look at photos on, I mean, we've looked at, geez, at this point, it was probably millions. It feels like millions of photos of all different homes. They all start to run together after a little while. It was just flipping through home after home after home after home after home on Realtor and Zillow and all these things. And it's funny how some, you see the photo on Zillow or Realtor and it's like, wow, that looks like a nice house. And you go in, it's like, well, this is not how it looks in the photos, and vice versa. It feels like sometimes you look and it's like, looks all right. And you go in the house like, wow, this is a nice house.
Yeah.
And it looked even nicer, I felt like, in person.
Yeah.
Kind of
well,
was the vibe.
Like on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we were like, wow, that's really beautiful. And so that's when we kind of, you know, quickly found a realtor. And the realtor that we did find, she did a really good job at like moving things along. Like, the day we interviewed her, we ended up going into the house, which, you know, we signed the buyer's agreement the same day and everything, which again, if you are going to plan to buy a house, we recommend vetting your realtors, feeling comfortable with your decision moving forward, and like doing that first before finding the house and then scrambling to buy a realtor.
We're
or find a realtor.
unconventional like that.
Yeah. The analogy that I like to use when we were going around looking at houses is kind of like we were driving around with the e-brake on. Like, we just felt like things were so expensive and we were so discouraged, and like, yeah, we're gonna look at houses, but like, are we gonna really buy one, you know? But it was funny, like when we were in the house, we were kind of like, That's nice. This has a lot of potential.
We didn't mind a fixer-upper in the sense that it needed some work. Like if it needed some stuff, because pretty much every single home, not even pretty much, every single home we'd go into, we'd need to change some stuff around, whether it was the paint on the walls, whether it was some of the layouts, whether it was the kitchen. You know, every single house would need some work, even if it had just been remodeled like months before.
I'm
It probably
picky.
wasn't the style that we were going to be going
Yeah.
for. So this house seemed to have all the potential in our price range with the bones already there to make it what we want, and we had saved up money to be able to do that to any home we were looking at, because we knew every home we looked at would need to be adjusted and changed, or you know, in some form, pretty much once we got in there. And so this one had all those boxes checked off, and then I think what deters some is seeing it and seeing it needs some TLC, and it scares some people off. For us, it was almost like a systems go, like,
Well, yeah, because
You know?
basically all the other homes in the neighborhood or in the area that we were looking for, it was like we were paying for somebody else's renovation
Yeah.
that we didn't like. So this was a really good opportunity for us because it had probably not been touched since it was built.
No.
And it was built in the 90s. And it needed a lot of work, but we didn't have to pay for that, basically. The view was so beautiful. I would walk into every room and like knew exactly kind of what I wanted to do with it. So it was really exciting. And so I remember like leaving that showing and being like, huh. The realtor that we found was really good in the sense that it was no pressure, because we kind of briefed her about like our previous experience. You know, it might take us a while to find the one, and like, are you okay with that? And so she was like not pushy at all. And I think I remember like calling her and be like, we want to put an offer in, like, come on. It was just funny because, you know, we had like basically been like, we're going to take a while to find the one, and then shows us one house and we're like, ooh, we like that. So we like slept on it, and the next day then I started like getting anxiety because I'm like, I want it. And that's how I knew it was the right house. So basically we made an offer on the house, and it was a pretty aggressive offer. Like, you know, we still offered
Yeah.
less than what they were asking, and we got it. And yeah, it was exciting because, you know, I just kind of felt like this moment would never come. Like, we're never gonna find the house. And we definitely have like a long road ahead with renovations and getting it to where we want, which obviously we moved into a brand new build with our last home, so we didn't really experience that part. So I think that will be a challenge going forward, but it will also be very exciting. So yeah, we bought a house. We are staying in Arizona. We are very excited about this next chapter and just kind of getting to take you guys along on the renovation process. So I believe it will be the next video. There might be a video in between, I'm not sure yet, but it will probably be the next video that I take you guys on an empty house tour, where we'll show you the house, we'll show you the views that it has, and just kind of like walk you through and show you like what we're planning to do to it. Renovations have already begun at this point in time, like at the time we're filming this, and it already looks so different compared to, you know, the initial walkthrough and what things look like when we bought it. So we're really excited to share the journey with you guys, and, you know, thanks for your patience with this move and the rental, and we're really looking forward to just like feeling settled and making that
Yeah.
space like our permanent place. Because even when we were in the North Carolina house, like I did feel very comfortable and settled there for a time, but it was kind of like the last 2 years, we always knew in the back of our minds, like, this is not our forever house. So like, I'm excited to be in a place where I'm just like, let's make it exactly what we want and like make it our dream, basically. Because I felt like we were always kind of holding off in the other house, knowing that we might rent it out. Like, oh, we don't want to paint that or try that stone because we don't want to spend the money on it, and we don't know. And you know, it'll be nice to just like go for it in this house, basically.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
we'll be and just it's fun. A fun part about, I feel like, the house process is the planning and the dreaming and the thinking and the designing and the, you know, all that stuff that goes into, you know, if you got a little project that you want to do, it's fun doing it. Now, doing the projects, some parts of the projects aren't the most fun. Doing them, actually, some of it is fun. Some
Can be stressful.
can be stressful.
Yeah.
But like, it's exciting. I think a lot of people feel that way. You're right. It's exciting when you get into a home and you see the potential, you see the possibilities, you see the
the future and the growth that can happen in a home. But that's one of the fun things, at least in my opinion, about being a homeowner is all that. And when you got a designer right here next to you that knows how to really make it look nice, it makes it even more fun. But that's a big part of it. In this house that we have now, I think that it has a lot of that excitement wrapped up in it, that we have all that potential for growth, and there's just a vision that we have for it, and it's exciting to see it. And
Yeah, like our dream for a house has always just been that kind of like Spanish, like resorty, Mediterranean, like Spanish revival style. And it's just like so exciting that we get to live in a place that has that kind of architecture within the homes here, and then just make that dream come to life. So that's what we're going to be doing, and we're really excited to show you the space in our next video, but we just kind of wanted to announce it and let you know what's going on, because obviously this Christmas decorating season has not been up to par with what I normally put out. So just kind of wanted to explain why. We're in a bit of a transition period right now, but we're really excited to share the transformation process with you guys, and we're really excited for this next chapter. We really want to thank you guys for all your continued support and your kind comments. It really does mean so much to us, and it's really exciting to know that we have all of you guys with us on this journey. So thank you guys so much for that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your holiday season, and we will see you guys in our next video. Bye.
Bye.